Want to thank all of you for coming to this formal announcement of our new basketball coach. We are very excited about the new coach, whom Mr. Vaughn will recognize and introduce in a few moments. My name is John Edwards. It's my pleasure to serve as Vice President for Enrollment and Student Services at the University of Texas Pan American. This is a wonderful day at UTPA and a stellar day in Bronc athletics. It follows a year which, like many, we've seen highs and lows. This time last year, we were announcing that we were joining a new conference. Well, that's not exactly true. We were announcing the creation of and the merger of UTPA into a new conference, the Great West Conference. And with conference-ending meets and with conference-ending tournaments and ideas like block scheduling of games, travel costs may actually be lessened, we think, with the new conference as it opens up this next year. And a conference, of course, that the name Great West doesn't imply that it stretches from the Atlantic to the Pacific Ocean. And the big issue in intercollegiate athletics is funding because of many things going on, primarily the financial situation that we face today in the United States, and also with increasing costs. As an aside, I can tell you that conferences throughout the country are now struggling with the same issue that we faced as we merged into the Great West of travel costs, finding ways to reduce travel costs. The Conference USA, in a news article in the Dallas Morning News just this past week, announced that its 12 universities were cutting $10 million in their budgets. And this includes a university like Southern Methodist University. And they're moving toward, through the conference, they're moving toward block scheduling, reduced travel rosters, and other steps that we've already taken here at UTPA and in the Great West Conference. But we have faced these issues head on, and our student athletes and programs have won in spite of all of the issues that we faced. Our student athletes and our programs have won this past year. Men's cross country were the Great West champions. Men's cross country finished 5th at the NCAA Regional Championship. Women's golf, the Great West champions. Women's golf won the National Minority Championship, aired on the Golf Channel. Men's tennis beat nationally ranked Corpus Christi. Women's tennis was named to the all-tennis team. Women's volleyball was recognized as academic all-American team. Women's track was recognized as an academic all-American team. 11 student athletes were named to the Great West all-academic team. And besides being great on the field and on the courts, our athletes have been good students. In May commencement ceremonies, we graduated 21 student athletes. And throughout our program, about 180 athletes, we have a mean GPA of a little bit over a 3.0. And 67 athletes have greater than a 3.0. And our student athletes are also encouraged to be good citizens. They've done many things as teams and as individuals, and Adopt a Beach, Adopt a School, free clinics with Boys and Girls Clubs, Angel Tree programs, and many others events and activities which I could name. In spite of the setbacks, the lows that we faced this year, the athletic program is on the right track, and I certainly thank the interim athletic director, Mr. Ricky Vaughn, and his team and the coaches that have been involved in some of these great events and great wins that we've had in athletics this year. I want to introduce you now to our president, who is an interim president, it is certainly true, but he's doing much more than holding the door or holding down the fort. He's bringing some fresh ideas and positive ideas which will help move us forward for the new president, who will appear within the next 6 to 9 months. It is a pleasure to have him with us and leading UTA, and I now like to introduce Dr. Chuck Sarber, our interim president, who, by the way, is no stranger to intercollegiate athletics. He implemented intercollegiate athletic program when he was president at the University of Texas Permian Basin. Dr. Sharp.
Thank you, Dr. Edwards. I also have in my office upstairs my football, my guest coach football from 32-7 win of UT over Arkansas. That was a while ago. We haven't played Arkansas until recently, but I've been always involved in athletics, and I think it's a great opportunity. And I give you a welcome, too, on behalf of the university, and a very special welcome to our honored guest, Bronx head men's basketball coach, Ryan Marks. Coach Marks, we're delighted that you have chosen to join our family. We are on the way of restructuring and rebuilding a very important part of our academic community, and that's the athletic program. You're the second coach who has joined us in Reach Time that I think will be adding significantly to our ability to succeed with student athletes. And remember, these people that play basketball, or in Manny's case, play baseball, they're first and foremost students, and then they're athletes. And you can be both. You heard about some of the successes of our program from Dr. Edwards, but I can tell you we had, I think, a wonderful applicant pool. And I interviewed all 4 of our candidates that came through campus to talk about this job. They were all 4 outstanding individuals, which means that we are an attractive place for prospective coaches and athletic directors or whatever. And we're going to continue to find the right people to rebuild this program. But I can also tell you that Coach Marks, on his resume, listed the GPAs of his team. I would argue there aren't many basketball coaches in this country that were willing to do that, because it's a tough business. But he had solid athletes who were students, as he was very successful, we know, at St. Edwards. Now, he's also brought 2 very special guests with him today. That they are his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Marks. We thank you for being here. They thought when they left Chicago to come down here, they were getting out of the Windy City. But they found that we have a special kind of wind down here, and it's not going to blow them back to, in fact, Chicago. So we're delighted that they could be here. In fact, Coach Marks has led St. Edwards to 3 Heartland Conference titles, 3 NCAA regional tournament berths in just 5 years as coach, and 3 20-win seasons. What an accomplishment. I have no doubt that he'll be equally successful here. Again, welcome, Coach Marks. You have my sincerest wishes for your success, and if I can do anything to help you succeed, I will. To introduce you more formally is our interim athletic director, Ricky Vaughn. And Ricky has been working tirelessly for the last year in this capacity to try to help us restructure the program. Ricky?
Once again, I want to thank everybody for being here today. One of the first things I want to do also is thank our search committee. They put in a lot of hours, a lot of hard work in coming up with our list of candidates. And it'd be Mr. Jim Lancaster, who is the chair of that, Dr. Sue Reinders, Jim Board, Tony De La Pena, John Sargent, Esmeralda Guerra, Peter Kranz, Deanne Kraft, and Nick Miller. Without the work that you did, we wouldn't have been able to come up with the candidates and the finalists that we did, and I appreciate all the hard work that you did. From the very start, not only in the search committee's mind, but everybody across the country that I'd call, one name kept coming up to the top, and that was Ryan Marks. He has a lot of support out there across the country. A lot of people were very high upon him. I think Ryan comes here with a vast amount of knowledge and experience from different levels, from Division I, II, and III schools, and even 3 years with the Los Angeles Clippers. And I think having the experience at every different level, I think gives him a little bit more knowledge to come in and experience to come in and take on our position that we have here. Ryan has put together an overall record of 148-83 while being a head coach. He's had 4 NCAA postseason berths, 4 regular season conference championships, and 3 conference tournament championships. Ryan has also showed his commitment to the student athlete. Last year, his cumulative team GPA was over a 3.0. As we head into this new chapter that we face with the Great West Conference and start taking on North Dakota, South Dakota, Houston Baptist, Utah Valley, Chicago State, and New Jersey, we feel Coach Marks is the person to take us and bring home the championships. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Ryan Marks, our new men's basketball coach.
Well, it's unbelievably thrilling to be here today, obviously. And the first thing I'd like to do, this is a position and an opportunity that's been granted to me, obviously, by Dr. Sorber, Dr. Edwards, Coach Vaughn, who were incredibly thorough over the time that they were searching, obviously, for a new coach. I'd like to give particular thanks also to the search committee. A lot of my interaction with them on my interview here a couple weeks back really solidified and gave credence to the thought in my mind that this was a place that I wanted to be the next coach at University of Texas Pan American. For that reason, I've had a great 5 years at St. Edward's University in Austin. It was a place that I very much enjoyed coaching, enjoyed the community there, enjoyed living there. But so I guess at the same time, it had to be a special situation and a unique opportunity for me professionally to have any desire or even a consideration to move out of that comfort zone. And the more I learned through this process and the more exposure I had to the people here and continued to learn about this community, the more enthusiastic I became about the opportunity to come here. And again, I'm certainly humbled and grateful for that opportunity. I think that it's a unique challenge. In meeting with the search committee, I got the impression and the understanding of something that we've already heard about this morning, and that's the commitment to the total student-athlete experience. I've never wanted to be someone that was coaching at the college level that had any other primary goal, first and foremost, than to graduate student-athletes and watch them matriculate on to the next phases of their life following their acquisition of a 4-year college degree. And so I know that there are some places where a culture of strictly winning exists. It's not to say that that's not going to be important to us. Obviously, my track record in coaching proves that we've been able to figure out a way to win a couple games, obviously with a very fine group of young men that were dedicated student athletes, did a good job in the classroom, did a good job in their communities. And I think that's critical here because of the nature of our campus community and our greater community within the Rio Grande Valley. There's a poem I learned a long time ago when I was at a summer camp in northern Wisconsin called Camp Nebagaman, Lake Nebagaman, Wisconsin. Tough place to find even with MapQuest, but it exists way up in the North Woods. And there's a poem by an American poet from the early 1900s named Edwin Markham. And the poem is something that we've always recited with my team prior to going out to games. I've had players say, hey, coach, are you ever going to give me a t-shirt that doesn't have that poem on the back of it? And they're still waiting for one of those. But the poem goes like this. It says, there's a destiny which makes us brothers. None goes his way alone. All that we send into the lives of others comes back into our own. I care not what of his temples or his creeds, one thing holds firm and fast, that into his fateful heap of days and deeds, the soul of a man is cast. And for me, the thoughts and the sentiments in that are a lot about what a college basketball family is supposed to be. And it talks so much about that every action you have, in particular in this context as a student athlete, it affects your teammates, it affects your campus, and it affects your community at large. And so something that's been interesting to me, obviously being from Chicago originally, we're a town of great civic pride. We've still been waiting since 1908 for the Cubs to win a World Series. Something tells me we'll continue to wait patiently. But it's a place of great civic pride. And in my experiences coming down to the Valley, I found this to be another one of those unusual places where the civic pride in the area and in the culture are so strong among the people down here. And to be able to be part of the fabric of a place like that is something that I didn't want to pass up on. And I think if we can build a team that not only will our community here be proud of on the court and in the classroom, but a group of young men that people are going to want to get to know, that are going to be visible throughout Edinburgh, McAllen, Mission, and the outlying areas, then I think we're going to be in very good shape. To give you a little idea of what you might be getting into with me as your coach, I remember this is about 10 years ago, a coach named Matt Doherty, who I know Coach mentioned SMU earlier, who's at SMU now. He was just taking over in, I think, 1999 as the head coach at Notre Dame. And Matt Doherty had played for the legendary Dean Smith at North Carolina. And he articulated that he would be he had the rights to a Dean Smith franchise, and he was going to open one up in South Bend, Indiana. Well, this may not sound quite as glamorous on the surface, but you're going to get an A1 sanitary rag company franchise right here in Edinburgh. And that's a company that my father started and worked at for over 60 years until he retired at 89 and a half, just almost 5 years ago. And I still tease him. I said, who gets to 89 and a half and retires? I mean, who doesn't see it all the way out to 90? But you know, growing up, I think I've had a lot of influences, obviously, in coaching. I've worked for some excellent athletic directors. I've been influenced by some masterful coaches. But nothing has affected my coaching philosophy more than the values I've learned from my parents, Alfred and Charlotte Marks. And from creating a nurturing environment in which people learn best to having a tireless work ethic, which creates success, to being ethical and forthright in the way you deal with people. Those are the things that make individuals successful, and those are obviously the things that make teams successful. You know, to give you an example of work ethic, my father used to have about 20 to 25 different routes that he would drive throughout Chicago to call on clients. His company was a distributorship of industrial products. And so when I had a day off of school when I was young, he used to put me in the car and we would drive around and call on clients. And I can't always say that it was thrilling, but it certainly gave me an idea about work ethic. The silver lining was one of his clients was a place called the Holloway Candy Company. They were the original maker of Milk Duds. So we would always finish the route by going down there and getting a complimentary sample of Milk Duds, which probably contributed to me eating too many sweets to this point in my life. But that's where learning about work ethic came from me. Matter of fact, I also remember one time we went out, we had a snow day in Chicago, something that most of the people here have never experienced. No classes, no school because of the snow. We still went out and called on customers. And this was probably when I was about 10 or 11 years old. And I remember as the day wore on, my dad becoming increasingly frustrated by the fact that, that many of his clients had decided to take the day off. And that it was irritating to him that, hey, if we could get out on the roads and get from place to do business, why couldn't they have been there to conduct their business as well? So anyway, that's something that is going to be at the backbone of our program, those types of values and student athletes that will embrace those things. We have an extraordinary university here and a multitude of educational experiences available to them. We will not recruit a young man into our program that doesn't firmly understand the value of the education that he can receive here. That will be first and foremost. Obviously, we're going to bring in student athletes that are going to be able to help us compete and eventually win Great West Conference titles on the court. And obviously, this is a long way off. The Great West is the formulation of the Great West is a very stabilizing step for us. It will give obviously our student athletes the chance to play in a national, on a national scale. It will give us a chance to compete, in a conference tournament, greater visibility toward the long term. Obviously, it's not a conference. Yes, it's not a conference yet that has an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament, but that's somewhere down the line. It's going to be a slow process, but now you're going to have to excuse my northern Yankee accent on this one. But someday we hope that a Harive Tapatio will be insurged into the big dance come March Madness time. So that's something that in the back of my mind is something that we will always be, obviously might be a little ways off for us, but that's something that would be an ultimate goal for us to be the first team here at UTPA to participate in the NCAA tournament in Division I men's basketball. So we obviously have a lot of short-term work to do, some long-term goals to dream about, and I couldn't be more thrilled about being the guy that's here to move forward with that opportunity. So again, I want to thank everyone for obviously coming out today to join us on this festive event. At this point, if any of the media people have some questions, I'd be happy to take those. Means I talked too long already. But again, I appreciate the unbelievably warm welcome, certainly on behalf of myself and my family. I also wanted to point out two assistant coaches who have worked with me in the past felt that it was important to come down here and celebrate with me. And I know that for me to have this opportunity, it was a cumulative, to get to this opportunity in my career, it was a cumulative effort of the staff that I've worked with in the past and all of the players. And so I appreciate that that these two guys have helped me along the way would come down to celebrate with us. And that's John Havens, who was my assistant coach at St. Edward's University the last 2 years, and Roderick Rhodes, who was with me 4 years ago and is now at Seton Hall University, and are two of the guys that have been the most paramount in helping me along the way to my personal professional success. So it's awfully meaningful that those guys are here with me. Thanks again. Look forward to getting to know all of you in the coming days.
It thrills me to hear anyone quote poetry, and I usually end my talks with a poem, but I can't beat Edwin Markham, so I'm not going to try. It's a pleasure, Coach Marks, to have you join us at UTPA. We look forward to exciting seasons that lie ahead with your tenure here at our university. And Coach Marks will be available for one-on-one interviews for those of the media who may have missed him. And we want to thank particularly the media for coming out for this important session this morning. I want to leave you with just a few objectives that we've stated and restated for our athletic program at UTPA, but I think they're very important. First of all, we're going to build a team approach in our program where each team, each sport, supports the other sport. And we're going to all, in the program, support the academic mission of the university and the movement of our students toward academic success and graduation. We're going to do what we do on the playing fields and on the courts with integrity all the way. I have told each coach candidate that we will abide by NCAA rules and by doing what is right and best for each student athlete. We're going to commit to our athletes that we will help them all the way. In the old term, we're going to help with their schooling. We are looking for ways and funds sources which will help us provide summer tuition and fees for our athletes who want, not who have to, but who want to attend summer school and improve their GPA and their steps toward graduation, and also to increase the support that we have for the fifth-year students. That's the reason we're here, as has been stated by Coach Marks and others, for our student athletes to gain a degree. At the same time, we expect that this university and our coaches can attract the caliber of student athletes who, when coached and taught, can be competitive in Division I athletics for our community pride and the development of our fandom. We believe that we're on our way toward these objectives with the work of Mr. Vaughn and the athletic department and all of the current coaches. We think we know we will have the support of everyone in athletics and around the university. We hope to win community support that will continue to help us achieve these goals. We have to remind the media, and I think Dr. Sarber stated it fairly clearly, we're not a professional team. There are professional teams in the Valley. We're more important. We're molding young minds toward more productive futures, toward higher standards of citizenship, giving back to the community, and most importantly, toward graduation. I want to thank everyone for coming, and please join us for the reception immediately following this. Thank you very much.